Today's lesson is when love isn't enough. I have a powerful message for you today in our Inspiration to Impact. I have a question for you during our Speak Into Your Life and a charge for you during our community resources. The last month, I talked to you about breaking free from mental bondage. It's something important that I still want to touch on. I was thinking about love for all of this month, but there are some things that are going on in relationships that we need to talk about. We talked about how mental bondage can change the way you think. Remember, I said, change your mindset, change your life. I want you to hold on to that as we go through this. I want to do a little bit of a review before we go into our new lesson. What is mental bondage? I defined it as mental being related to the mind, bondage being bound or enslaved, and then I gave you my definition of mental bondage being a manipulation of the mind intended to destroy your spirit through the use of control tactics, emotional and psychological abuse. It is emotional slavery. Mental bondage. Is that what you're going through? It is the stories that drive our addictions and fuel self-sabotaging behaviors. Remember that an addiction is a strong need to have or do something. Sometimes you feel like you have no control over it. We form addictions to men, to women, to food, to drugs, to reality TV, and other mindless activities. You call it entertainment, I call it a coping strategy. What are you trying to suppress? Mental bondage. Hold on to it because it's time for a new lesson. Behavior is said to be self-sabotaging when it creates problems and interferes with your goals. These acts may seem helpful in the moment, but they are ultimately undermining us, and interestingly, we are not even aware of them. In fact, we can self-sabotage our life, our jobs, and our relationships. Time for us to move forward to phase 2 of our lives. How did some of those hurts that we've experienced come to be? How do they make us behave? Today in this lesson, I want to talk to you about how it's changing you, how it causes you to behave. Because we talked about what it looks like. We talked about what it feels like. But we need to talk about what it causes you to act like. It's what other people see. It's how you behave when you leave the house. It's how you behave in your relationships. Sometimes in order to be a stronger person, you put things in place to keep from getting hurt. What things have you put in place to keep from being hurt? What did you tell yourself that you need to do in order to deal with certain people? I want to get down to the root of the issue. There are some things that we've put into place up here and definitely in here to keep from getting hurt. That's the mental bondage and what it acts like. So how do we get over this? How do we move forward? I want to talk to you about a couple of things, okay? I tell my ladies all the time, we have these walls. Some of you have become FBI agents. You know what I mean. You know where the cell towers are. You know when to check the phone when he's not looking. You know how to, you got like his whole phone is on low jack. You got it down to the T of how you can get into his life. Is that serving you any purpose or is that causing you more pain? Is it worth it being the FBI agent? Putting up walls so that you won't get hurt. Don't you know that when you put up walls, not only can nobody get in, but you can't get out? I want you to understand the pain that's really happening all around you. Remember that I defined mental bondage as a manipulation of the mind intended to destroy your spirit? Well, you remain stuck in your pain through the bondage of old hurts and resentment, the bondage of childhood wounds and disappointment, the bondage of spending more than you earn, the bondage of feeling stuck in where you are now because of what happened in your past, the bondage of mediocrity when you are worth so much more, the bondage of believing that all relationships suck and that marriage cannot be good, the bondage of being afraid of being vulnerable. Yes, you might get hurt, but I need you to know that it's worth it, that sometimes having a friendship is worth the loneliness that you've settled for. Sometimes it's better to love than to never have loved at all, even if it does only last for a season. I want you to know that it is worth it. So I want you to find out what really mental bondage does to us and what it causes us to act like. I want you to look into the mirror. I want you to claim the baggage that you've been through. And I want you to look up to heaven and thank God that you don't look like what you've been through. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's life-changing. Now time for me to speak into your life. I have a very special guest with me today, Miss Latrina Phillips. Welcome. Thank you. I'm so excited for you to be here. Latrina was in a class with me, and we were doing this assignment called What is Love? And she read the most beautiful original poem written by, okay, Miss Latrina, and I invited her to come to be with me today to read her poem in her own words so that she can share with you her definition of what is love. You heard me talk about earlier when love isn't enough. I have a couple of more things to say, so stay tuned. But welcome again, Miss Latrina Phillips with What is Love?
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
You're welcome.
Love is sacrifice, not those things that are easily forgotten, but the type of sacrifice that going in you feel as if you might regret the decision, but you do it in spite of your own reservation. Love is also encouraging when you feel your partner's ultimate success might overshadow your own. Love is selfless to the point you often forget to consider yourself because the love of your life comes first when you make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Love is honest enough to look yourself in the mirror and seek self-improvement before judging or being critical of your partner. Love is respectful.
Yes.
I personally believe when men or women cheat, it is not because they do not love their partner, though sometimes this is the case, but the lack of respect for their relationship. And ultimately, their partner is what makes it easier for them to give in or even seek in others what they do not see or what might be missing from their partner.
Mm-hmm.
Love is exciting. It's the butterflies on the way home after an endless day of meetings and extraordinarily boring briefs, knowing you are going to hold or be held by the love of your life, even after 5 years. Love makes you smile when it's hard to, because you know the person looking back at you after you had a venting and frustrating conversation with a family member knows exactly what to say to put you at ease.
Yes.
Love can be scary because you can't measure, dictate, or control matters of the heart, and you also can't deny them. So you take a chance on love when you might be unsure. Love is mature enough to distinguish love from lust or any other temporary attraction.
That's right.
Mature enough to take love seriously and grasp the importance in doing so. Love is communication. From the pillow talk to the processing of each other's days, the thought-provoking conversations after a nice meal, to the silly conversations about random ideas or experiences, but most importantly, the talks that are hard to have. Those talks where it becomes time to address hard subjects and be honest in assessing where your feelings lie in your relationship. Love is real life. Real enough to know there will be good and bad days.
Yes.
But love is strong enough to see you through the rough times.
Yes.
The word love means nothing to me when it is not preceded by some clear manifestation to give truth and life to what is often an empty or automatic verbal expression. However, I have been so fortunate to have met the love of my life. We met on active duty. And out of all of my experiences, accomplishments, awards, etc., she is the greatest thing I could have ever received from the United States Marine Corps. Sharaya Martin is the embodiment of true love, romantic love to me.
What is love? Earlier we talked about love, okay, when it's not enough. What is your definition of love? Is it these beautiful words that Latrina has given to you? Is it this definition of love that you see in front of you? Is your love based on what a person looks like on the outside versus what a person, who they are on the inside? What is your definition of love? Many times when I say love isn't enough, I'm not just talking about that four-letter word. Sometimes it's something that's going on the inside of you. Sometimes it's your own stuff. That's what I want you to know. That's why I talked about and started this off with mental bondage. But sometimes love is right in front of you. Sometimes you're hiding behind tradition. Sometimes you're hiding behind what you think is the love you're supposed to have. Sometimes you're hiding behind a skin color and some hair, okay? I want you to understand that love is deeper than that. It's a lot deeper than that. You got to get past your stuff so that you can find true love, real love, somebody you can talk to in the midnight hour. I'm not talking about Jesus this time, okay? Somebody you can have those uncomfortable conversations. yet you can talk all night about your dreams with. Somebody that'll be there when you cry. Somebody that'll pick you up. Somebody you can take to the family reunion when you feel closer to them than you do to your own family. Somebody that's going to love you back and treat you the way you're supposed to be treated. Treat you with respect, yet you're not bound by blood, only by love. I want you to understand what love is. And sometimes that very definition that you have, you want to check that, because sometimes it's not what it seems. What is love to you? Sometimes it's not enough because you don't feel like you are enough. Thank you so much for watching It's Life Changing. This has been Speaking to Your Life. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back to It's Life Changing with Dr. Carlita Perry. It's now time for our community resources. I have with me again Miss Latrina Phillips. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have her with me again. You just heard her read the beautiful original poem, What is Love? Latrina, tell me a little bit about yourself. Before we talk about the poem, tell us a little bit about Latrina.
Okay, you want the long version, short version?
Medium.
Medium version? Well, I'm proud to say I'm the product of a single mother. She was struggling, obviously. I'm the oldest of 6 kids.
Oh, wow.
So I experienced a lot of hardship growing up as a young person.
Okay.
Made a lot of crazy decisions.
We all do.
As a young adult.
Okay.
I found my way to bettering myself after some of those hard decisions.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to learn from them.
Good.
From there, joined the Marine Corps.
Awesome. You'll make the Marine noise?
Hoorah!
Okay,
for all those Marines out there, you know exactly what I mean. Semper Fidelis. However, after the Marine Corps, again, very fortunate. I attest my success as a civilian for the Marine Corps to the grace of God. Here I am today, working for Marine Forces Command as a comptroller, specifically ground financial management budget officer.
Wonderful.
So the short version, the medium version rather, is that's it. But again, I do attest all of my success, which I'm still on a path of growing.
Yes.
But I attest it to my mother again.
Yes.
Had it not been for her sacrifices, I would not be here today.
That's right.
So that's just a little bit about me.
Thanks, Mom. Okay.
Of course.
Shout out to Mom.
Of course, absolutely.
And definitely thank you for your service, for your time, and still giving back. Appreciate that so much, because you can tell that you're a very giving person and that you work hard. You know, everybody who knows me knows about my 6 cents, okay? And able to see that you really care. And when you do something, you do it 125%.
Yes, ma'am.
If not a little bit more, okay? And I appreciate that about people. And so thank you for your service so seriously, and just being you. It really means something. And even coming to the show to read the poem. And that's just a small piece of you. So I'm glad that we actually have this opportunity to have this conversation, because I know that there's so much more to you. But let's start with the poem and just say, what was your inspiration for writing it? You didn't have to do the extent, obviously, for the assignment, but you knocked it out of the park. So what was the inspiration? I already know. But.
To be honest, I couldn't think of a song. I thought of a song by Dr. Perry. I'm in her Psych 330 class at the university. She gave us the assignment to define what love is to us and to bring in something that represented that. So I'm like, man, Dr. Perry also said she was big on extra credit. Very well. So I'm finding a way to make extra credit. So I'm like, okay, I know that romantic love to me, my baby is my inspiration.
Yes.
So I'm sitting at the dinner table after she prepared me a pretty good meal. I remember exactly what that was. I won't say it here.
Okay.
However, sitting there, I'm like, okay, so what does love really mean?
Yeah.
We've been together for almost 6 years now.
Beautiful.
As I stated in the point, we met on active duty. So just to go into my heart and think about what love truly meant, in a sense of my love for her, her love for me, and essentially our love for each other.
Yeah.
So that was my inspiration behind writing the poem.
Yeah, and there's a lot of love and respect. Now, I really appreciated that about you and your extra credit, which she will be getting.
Thank you.
And I really appreciated you and your girlfriend coming today, and just, meeting her. She has a beautiful spirit as well. Want her to know that. And so I really appreciate that, and 6 years together. It's not easy being in a relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not easy trying to help grow a relationship, but it seems like it's almost a little bit, not easy, but it's been smooth,
We find a balance.
And that's really good.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's really good. No relationship is perfect, so I'm not saying that. But when
Right.
you have a friendship, which is
Right.
what I see, that's
Absolutely.
really important.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you always had, like, you know, sort of great relationships, or was this
Absolutely
something that
not. Absolutely not.
okay, that you found you appreciate more
Absolutely.
because of what you've been through?
Absolutely, absolutely. My first try, especially being a lesbian female, my first try at it, if you will, being young, not really understanding who I was personally.
Yeah.
That had a lot to do with the hardships of my past relationships. I was not comfortable with me.
Yes.
And neither was I mature enough to handle what love really meant.
Exactly.
So after some trial and error, if you will, some growth, it prepared me to understand
Yes.
who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And what I expect in someone, and what love really is.
And that's what I love about it, because even though your relationship, it may be not traditional to many people, I think because of that, you take the time to make sure that you're doing it right.
Yes, ma'am.
And I tell couples all the time, you know, you take for granted that relationships are going to be like, they're going to be perfect. Like, you just wake up and you know what to do. It doesn't work that way. You need skills.
Yes,
you need skills to have a healthy, good relationships. And sometimes, though, when you're going that non-traditional route and it's not what everybody expects, it makes you think more about your relationship. And I love what you said, because you said, I was still working on me.
Yes, ma'am.
And everybody who knows me, that's what I'm always saying. Work on you first, okay? Once you know you, you love you, you're in love with you, then you can be in love with somebody else. I want to thank Miss Latrina Phillips again for being here, for sharing a little bit about her story and her inspiration. So give her a hand again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's really meant a lot. And it's time for you to make those changes in your life. It's 2016. Let's start making some changes. You know, we spend money on so many other things, and we don't even question it. We get help when we need to learn how to do something. We take a class. We go to the medical doctors, and we don't even question if they have a degree. You don't even question if they know what they're talking about. But when it's time for you to take care of you and do the things in your life to make the changes, we don't do it. 2016, it's time for you to unleash your greatness so that you can love the life that you lead. I always tell people, not about just living the life, but loving the life. Every one of us has potential. It's time for you to unleash that. Thank you so much for watching It's Life Changing. I'll see you again next week. God bless you.